Hi y'all, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin if you are new here, and if you're not, welcome back. I'm so happy that you're here. If you clicked on this video, then I'm assuming that you have thought about starting a YouTube channel in the past or you are currently thinking about it, and so I really just want to bring you behind the scenes of what it's been like for me and my experience as someone who launched their YouTube video just 6 months ago. I also would love to make this a series if there is enough interest called The Diary of a Small YouTuber, and really just answer any questions or go over any topics that you may want to hear from someone who is a small YouTuber. Now today I'm going to be talking about my experience and what it's been like for me these past 6 months, as well as giving you 4 different questions that you can ask yourself with the hope of helping you discern if this is something that would be worth your time or not. So without further ado, let's get right into it. A little bit about me. I posted my video, I believe it was February 17th of this year, so just 6 months ago, and I posted consistently every single week since then. Sometimes 2 videos during the week, but most of the time just once. I believe I'm at 412 subscribers right now, somewhere in the lower 400s, which is amazing. I love all of you. Thanks so much for being here. It's something that I've wanted to do for a really freaking long time. I mean, a long time. I have notes from like 2018 of me writing down ideas of different videos that I wanted to make and what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to share about, but I never had the guts to do it. I was honestly way too insecure. I was way too nervous. So I just didn't do it until this year. I kind of had a light bulb moment. That is a different story for a different time. But that brings me to my first question that you should ask yourself. What is your why? Now, this is definitely the biggest question I think you need to ask yourself. Do you have a defined reason as to why you want to make a YouTube channel or get into content creation? It doesn't have to be super deep or profound, but you do need a why, and you need a really strong one. I say that because the name of the game with YouTube or any content creation is consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to show up. You are not always going to be motivated. You are not always going to feel creative, and you're going to hit a wall at some point one way or another. There have been plenty of weeks where I have felt so unmotivated, so tired. I felt like the least creative person on the planet. I couldn't think of anything to make a video about, or I was bummed because it was really hard to get to 100 subscribers. There's just a lot of opportunities to get down on yourself and to feel like you want to give up, but this is where your why comes in. So if you haven't already, I would really take time to figure out why it is you want to make a channel. But whatever it is, make sure you know what your why is and just stamp it on your forehead, write on your forehead, put it in your heart, write it down, whatever you need to do to remind yourself so when these hard days do come up, you're able to persevere and show up consistently. Because like I said, that's the name of the game in content creation. Number 2, are you willing to face some of your fears and be vulnerable? No one talked about, when I was looking at these videos when I was first starting out, how freaking vulnerable content creation is. There's definitely different types of content creation, but for me, creating YouTube videos, literally putting yourself on a camera, talking and exercising the English language in front of people and speaking in front of the camera, and then putting it out for the world to see and be like, what do you think about this? Here's me, and here are my thoughts, and here's my creativity. It's vulnerable, and it's something that I still feel and I'm still growing in, but I think it's worth asking yourself, are you willing to share parts of you with the internet? Not that you have to share all of yourself, but you know what I mean. And also potentially facing some really big fears. For me, I had such a fear of being misunderstood, which is why it took me so long to make this channel in the first place. I was so afraid of what people were gonna think. I also was afraid that people were gonna misunderstand my heart behind it and why I wanted to create content in the first place. And it's also really nerve-wracking to be seen starting out small. Like, hey, I'm starting a YouTube channel, I have 0 subscribers, here's my first video, or here's my 10th video, and you still have, you know, maybe 30 subscribers. Are you okay with being seen small? There are all of these different things that can make you feel afraid or vulnerable. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Are you going to be able to push past that and continue to show up consistently? I personally had to do a lot of behind the scenes work just with myself to get to that place. I knew that I wanted to have a YouTube, but I had to get to a place where the fear of being misunderstood no longer paralyzed me, but it actually became my fuel. And that's also because I had such a defined why, and I really took time to understand why I wanted to do this so bad. Number 3, are you willing to understand the industry and how it works? Are you willing to take time to understand the SEO and just kind of like the algorithm of YouTube or whatever platform that you want to go after? I think this is so important. It's also going to save you a ton of stress. I mean, a ton of stress. If you don't understand how the platform works and you're just kind of taking a shot in the dark, it's really hard to create content that's actually going to be seen. So if this is something that you're seriously thinking about, I would highly encourage you to learn about the industry in and out. And there are free resources out there. The people that I have learned the most from, which I would highly recommend, is Jade Beason. I can tag her down below. She's a YouTuber. She also has Instagram and TikTok, and all of her platforms are dedicated to helping content creators, as well as Bossbabe. They are two women that have a podcast. Jade has a podcast as well. They have an Instagram. They have all of these free resources that help content creators. And that in itself has helped me so much. I love listening to other content creators talk about the really real things about how it can be really difficult to create content, or it can be a really big bummer, you know, posting something for a year and barely getting any traction, etc. So I highly recommend learning about the industry. Jade Beason is a little bit more tailored to helping YouTubers out. Bossbabe is more tailored to helping entrepreneurs and content creators out. So if you want to learn more about the SEO of YouTube, I would really highly recommend looking up Jade. Like I said, there are a ton of free resources out there that you can learn from. That is what I've done, and it has made a world of difference. And number 4, are you willing to show up consistently for the long haul? Content creation and YouTube is something that you have to be willing to be in for the long haul, because it's not an overnight thing. It will never be an overnight thing. Yes, there are potentials for viral videos, but at the end of the day, not every single video is going to be viral. It's actually hard to create an audience and keep an audience if you only have one viral video, but you don't have other videos to continue to bring them back and to continue to keep their interest. So it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Are you willing to have a game plan and to actually figure out on the back end what that could look like for you to show up week after week after week? What days can you shoot? What days can you edit? Are you going to be okay with still showing up the next week if you post a video and it flops? The really cool thing about being a content creator is it's not if, it's when. If you want to be a content creator and you want to create an audience, you absolutely can do it, because you are on planet Earth with billions of people, and there are people out there that can relate to you. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you want to be creative and you want to create content, you're going to have people that are going to want to subscribe and engage with your content. So if you could just keep that in mind and have a defined why, then this is really going to help you show up day in and day out to make content. So those are the 4 questions that I would ask myself. I thought that I would give you a little rundown about what it's been like for me, and maybe talk about a few things that have come up that I have not expected at all. One thing that I did not fully expect, I expected it, but I feel like it's just not something that you can really understand unless you're doing it, is how much work it actually is. There's so much work that goes in behind the scenes when you are creating content. I have only really fully given myself into creating content for YouTube. I do dabble with Instagram here and there, really just not that often, but I've done enough to understand why it is a full-time job if that is something that you are going for. Now, I am currently still working in an office and doing that whole thing, so I am often shooting on the weekends or in the evenings and editing. I've had plenty of late nights to make sure I get my video up on Tuesday, which is my posting day, and it's just a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff on the back end. You have the recording, you have the editing, you have to do the description and links, and there's just so much to it. All of it takes time. So with that being said, there does come sacrifice. Because I still have a full-time job, I do find myself saying no to certain things because there's just sacrifice involved with me being very committed to getting that video up week by week. So this is not just some, oh, I'll just throw a video together. It legitimately is a lot of work, and it legitimately does cost you at times. And I don't say that to scare you, but I really just want to paint a realistic picture of what it's like to help you decide if this is something that you really want to do or not. Now, because I enjoy it so much and I have such a big why, it's totally worth it for me. So that's just something that you'll have to figure out on your end. I have been pleasantly surprised with how much I have loved it, in the sense of I love being creative. I love figuring out different ways to grow and to push my boundaries of what I feel like I can do. I never in a million years thought that I would be able to sit in front of the camera, talk in front of the camera, and then figure out how to edit a video and to put it up, and then put it online and be like, here you go world, what do you think about this? I never in a million years thought that I could do that, but it really has been such an exciting and rewarding experience for me. I mean, every time that I post a video, it is such a good feeling, and I'm just reminded of my why, which is what keeps me going. It's also been rewarding to push myself past the boundaries of being okay with doing something that feels a little scary and it feels a little vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that the fear isn't there, and it's not that I don't feel vulnerable every freaking time that I post something, but the feeling of showing up and posting in spite of that is so liberating, and it really just fuels a fire for me to keep going as well. So even if you are nervous and afraid, but you really want to do it, I'm telling you, it's worth it, and you should really give yourself that space. Okay guys, I hope this was helpful. I really wanted to kind of keep this brief and straightforward, but I would love to hear any questions that you can have. You can always ask me a question down below, or if you want it to be private, you can DM me on Instagram. I will have that tag down below. Like I said, if there is interest, I would love to make this a series behind the scenes of a small YouTuber, something that has just started out in 2022, for those of you who are interested in this. And if you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe. I'm here for the long haul. I post new videos every Tuesday, and we have skincare, fashion, lifestyle, and yeah, just some videos here and there in between. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.